Hey everyone, I'm Nathan Lundy, head of CX here at Mevo, and I welcome you to our Mevo live show, where we answer lots of questions that you have for us during our Q&As, and we also show you tips and tricks and about like using your Mevo camera or third-party products or anything to do with Mevo, basically. So today with me, I have a couple of my favorite people, one of those being Joe Mevo, as you guys know him.
Hey everyone, I'm Joe Capehart. I'm the Senior Technical Specialist here at Mevo. If you've ever opened up a support ticket or if you've ever checked out an article, I would be one of the individuals that work on those. So I'm excited to actually physically be here for the show today. I've only been in one so far and I was remote. So this is the first time I'm actually on the set and I'm really excited to be here.
That, and we have our video director, Andrew over here.
Hey everybody, I'm actually switching the show. And why don't we actually tell them what just happened and why we put up countdowns? Because that was kind of fun. That was a little fire drill that was happening the last 5 minutes of our lives. And Nate so graciously, like a gazelle, landed the plane. Why don't you take them through it, Nate?
Yeah, so we were just running into some issues with our internet here, just like you may happen to have those problems in the field as well. So we just did a quick little reset of everything. Luckily, we were in the countdown clock. That's why we use countdown clocks. It gives us 5 or 10 minutes to, one, send out notifications to all of you guys so you guys are there on time for the show. And the other one is so that way if there's any technical problems, we have kind of a little buffer room to reset everything, get things going again, get the streams back up and set back out. So it is a little technical issue with some internet, but we got it back up and running just in time.
Yeah, absolutely. And I seen there was a conversation similar about having countdowns in the Facebook group. And I mean, this was the perfect reason to do that, as it gives you that flexibility to make adjustments on the go. And I mean, none of your users are missing any content because you haven't started it yet. So it's definitely a pretty good fail-safe for anyone.
Yeah, exactly. And shout out to that Mevo producer plan where you can use graphics with your Mevo, and it includes countdown clock. So boom, there you go.
Great, guys. So I think maybe we should start with how we're gonna go through today. You know what? I jumped the gun. Sorry, y'all.
Oh yeah, we
let's
did.
go through our production.
Yeah, exactly.
And because you've been missing so long, Joe, why don't you take it through?
Awesome.
Take us through it.
It would be a pleasure. All right, so for most of our cameras, all except one, we're using Mevo Starts. This main camera right in front of me is a Mevo Start. We have a camera over here with Nathan for his direct commentation. That is a Mevo Start. We have mine right here. That is a Mevo Start on a table stand. We have one also mounted on a table stand in front of Andrew. We have an overhead shot so you can see everything that's going on in apps or any of our products that we want to show. And we have a Mevo Plus mounted on the way back so you can see everything that's happening in our production.
Yeah, and then for audio, we're just using wireless and wired lavaliers that we have wired underneath this table. Andrew has a wired lavalier as well. And those all feed to our main mixer board where we're able to mix the audio to get the correct levels and what we like for each of us individually. Joe has a booming voice, so sometimes we got to bring him down a little bit.
I get excited.
He does. And then from there, we go 3.5 or main program XLR out into the back of a 3.5 millimeter start right in the back of the camera, and then into our studio video mixing software where Andrew is mixing all our shows, all the different camera angles and audio and graphics, and then sending it out to the mainstream.
Exactly, and that was another thing that was conversed recently. Was someone asked if you could use a single audio source for the multi-camera app or within like OBS or Livestream Studio, and the answer is yeah, you can absolutely plug directly into one camera and use that for all of your different angles.
Yeah, exactly. Kind of the main source for all your audio. So why don't we get into the next part, which is our agenda, which Andrew jumped the gun a little bit, but now we can run through.
Yeah. Okay. Now I'm ready. So for today's show, we're gonna go through some sections. We're gonna start with getting started on your first stream. So on our first show that Joe was gracious enough to join remotely, we talked about an unboxing of a Mevo Start, but I think this section is gonna be next steps. So you got your Mevo Start, you got it out of the box, you got it set up. We're going to take you how to do your first stream, and we're going to open it up to some question and answer, and then we made a short video on something that we keep telling everybody is that you can't use TRRS mics with your Mevo start. And that's actually kind of technically not true. You can use adapters, but I'm spoiling. We're going to show you how to use a TRRS mic. I have to really enunciate that RRS. It's like you can kind of roll through a TRRS. So how do you use a TRRS mic? Then some more questions, and then we'll talk about multi-destination streaming and how it can affect your stream. Hint, hint, it has today for ours. And then we'll end with some really amazing content coming out of our Mevo community. So why don't we get started? Are you all ready?
So ready. All right, so last week we did an unboxing. It was kind of our first show, kind of showing you the contents of what Start was, the physical features of it, and some software features as well. So today we are going to walk you through kind of the initial setup and configuration of your first stream, just so you have an idea and you have at least a couple of steps and you can see how easy it is. And I'm also going to walk you through the ways you can connect through hotspot mode, connecting it to a router, and then, precursor to tomorrow, hint, hint, we're going to be talking about the PoE adapter and all the features and kind of advantages to using that over wireless in some cases, depending on where you're at. So we can go ahead and get you right into the app here. So basically, when you launch the Mevo app, you're going to see a few things. First of all, you're going to see 1 million Mevos in our office, just infinite amounts of Mevo. We've got them.
An army.
Or do we call it, is it Mevi or is it Mevos?
I think it's just Mevo. It's
just Mevo?
Mevos.
Just Mevos, yeah.
We're going to figure it
So
out.
we've got the Mevo, mini Mevo. But this is the main one that we're going to be touching. And I'm just going to go ahead and connect to it just to show you that it's the one right here in front of us, so you don't think I'm pulling any tricks or anything like that. So this is this camera right here. Okay. So when you first unbox Mevo and you get it started, you're going to see this sort of screen here. And right in default mode, it's in hotspot mode. So this one's actually connected to Ethernet, but when you're in Ethernet mode or PoE, it'll actually be in hotspot mode as well. So we're going to exit out of here and we're going to open up our Wi-Fi settings and just connect to that Mevo directly. But there is actually a faster way that you can do this. And there is a way you can do it just connecting through the automatic connection. But we'll show that to you some other day here. So we're going to find my Mevo here, which is the 22HC. I'm just going to go ahead and click on that and connect to our hotspot. So you'll notice this takes a couple of seconds to do, and it'll tell you an unsecured network and that you're all set to go.
Well, while we're going through getting all of that set up, one of the things that's really important about streaming, whether you're doing the hotspot mode or you're doing a setup with local Wi-Fi or Ethernet, a very important thing that you should do is always check your upload speeds before you go live. So before you actually even try and bother connecting with the Mevo, something you should definitely check out is going to something like Google Speed Test or speedtest.net and go and check your upload speeds. The download speeds, not so important. The upload speeds are huge. So definitely do that before you actually connect and try to go live, because if you don't have sufficient upload speeds, you're going to have some buffering. The Mevo app's going to throw you some errors or some warnings saying, hey, lower your resolution. Your upload speeds aren't there. So that's probably one of the first things you're going to want to do is check your upload speeds before you try to go streaming, because that is usually the first step or first issue you might run into. Let's get back into the app.
Yep. All right. So we had one quick little problem there that I didn't foresee as we started the demo, and that is if I jump off the Wi-Fi of this iPad to another device, then we won't be able to mirror it. So my apologies for that. But the same thing is useful, so we can still kind of demo everything else. So when you're in here, you see Mevo for the first time, all the way from the beginning. Now you can open up and you can configure your Mevo here. Now this process, once you tap this button, does take around 15 to 20 seconds. So it's a little bit long, but it's something we're looking to improve. And I think in a few updates, you might see some surprises where this is slightly improved. But once you do open it, you're going to basically see all the different ways that you can connect to Mevo. And this is where I'm going to explain them. So at the top, you're going to see right now we have Ethernet plus Mevo hotspot. So since this device is plugged into an Ethernet connection here in the office, you'll see that it says Ethernet plus Mevo hotspot. Normally, this would just say Mevo hotspot by itself. Then you'll see underneath that is a whole list of 5 gigahertz and 2.4 gigahertz networks. So this is pretty easy. we can just select the network that we would like to join, and you'll notice actually over here on the right-hand side, the very top network is the Mevo Multicam network. And there's also a little like flag on that network, and that's basically saying that it's a new, or not a new network, a remembered network, or one of your known networks here. You can actually view all your known networks in this list right here. So in this case, we'll go ahead and put it on the Mevo Multicam router. And so this is us connecting Mevo specifically to a router here that we have in the office.
One of my favorite things here is that you can, I move locations. That's where I used to be. There we go. Is that you can actually see which are 5G and 2.4G Wi-Fi networks. Is there an app or something? Because like I've had struggle trying to find the right network in certain locations because people rename stuff. Usually you can see there's a bunch of networks here that end in 5G. That's really easy to see. But if you have stuff that's custom to a location that you're in, it's really
a great example of that actually is this Unify QA one. There's both a 5 gigahertz and a 2.4. So depending on what you're trying to achieve with your camera, you may want to connect to a different one of those. So now that we're connected to it, we're going to go ahead and hit done. And you're going to see down in the bottom left of the card that it now says Mevo Multicam. And that means that it's connected to that network. And then as an example, we'll come over here to our iPad settings, and we'll also notice that we are connected to Mevo Multicam. You'll also notice that if we scroll through the networks, that Mevo 222HC is no longer available in the list. So now we've turned off the hotspot, and now we're using the hotspot the opposite direction to connect to the router. And then, like normal, you can just go ahead and connect your app to the camera. And here we are again. So we're going to go into detail about the PoE. I kind of accidentally showed you a little bit about it here in this part of the app because that was hotspot mode. But you'll also see the network listed here. And then tomorrow, I think we're going to show you a little bit about the PoE, how to set it up, and then how to configure those settings. But that's connecting it to a network. We have one last stage to this, and that is by actually configuring some of your destinations for streaming. So you can tap on the red button here, and you'll see all the built-in providers. So we've kind of gone ahead and fast-forwarded a little bit, but it's really as simple as tapping on Facebook, and you'll get a prompt to log in. And I'll actually just log out of Joe's. Tap on this guy here, and you're going to notice that this is actually already logged in on this iPad, meaning I've used Safari at some point to access this account. And so it's kind of cached those settings on the iPad, and then every time I go to connect, or for you, for the first time connecting, when you tap on Facebook, you'll say continue, and it'll actually just be ready to log into your Facebook. All you'll have to do is tap continue, and you'll see all the destinations just slowly appear. Again. Hey, there you are. And you'll see all the pages, or excuse me, all the groups built in here, and pages, and other events that you would be able to go live to. It's as easy as just tapping on one. You have some options to configure it. So you can change the privacy settings, you can give it a specific name or title, and you can allow embedding, and you have a few other options for that destination. You can hit save. We can add, you'll see it automatically added this since there's only one destination listed here or selected. You'll see that my title actually just automatically filled up top. You can choose to do some backup recording to the SD card. And then below that, you'll see some options and how much free space there is. And the last piece is your quality. This is where you can select 1080 or 720 or something else if you didn't want to, if you didn't have maybe the right bandwidth or some other limitation. So we'll choose 1080. You'll notice on the right-hand side, there's actually a multi-destination toggle here that Joe's going to walk you through in a little bit. So you can do this for lots of different providers. So you can see the same prompt shows up. You can log into your account this way, and you can do this for all of these straight across the board. Once you've selected one, you selected the right event, you can just hit go live, and now you'll see in just a few seconds. It takes 5 to 10 seconds for the connection to be made, and then we will be live streaming. That easy.
Yeah, that's crazy. Now, and we kind of touched on it a little bit with the 2.4 and the 5 gigahertz, and you were talking about bandwidth requirements and signal requirements. And just for those who may not know, the difference between those two, the 2.4 and 5, The 5 is actually going to be quicker than the 2.4. However, if you're seeing some drops or you're having some issues with your signal reaching your location, that's where you want to jump to a 2.4. That way, because it has a larger radius than the 5 does.
Yeah, exactly. So it can penetrate walls better and just random things that might be in the way. But the actual network speed that you're going to achieve on that network is going to be slower.
Exactly.
So you might have some kind of issues with the iPad and the app connecting constantly, but for the most part, you can choose either network and it should work.
Yep.
All right, guys, are you ready for some questions?
Absolutely.
I'm so ready.
They are flooding in.
Oh, love it.
So Daniel Montano asks, our church is currently using an iPhone to stream our service. So it sounds like he's just using the phone straight to wherever he wants to stream to. We are looking to buy a Mevo, but I noticed that there is no Mevo Plus on the official website. Was it discontinued?
Well, I'll take this one. So basically the Mevo Plus, has mostly been the flagship product of Mevo since like 2017. It took over for the Mevo first gen. And just like that, the Mevo Start is actually the newest flagship product that is going to take over for the Mevo Plus. So the Mevo Plus is no longer in production, as well as the Mevo Boost. Neither are in production anymore. And actually, unless there's somebody holding them hostage somewhere, they're going to be pretty hard to find brand new, because as far as we are aware, they are sold out worldwide. So the Mevo Start does offer the same features. The Mevo Plus actually improvements in many of the features and new features. So if you're looking for a Mevo, the Mevo Start should be able to fulfill your Mevo needs.
All right, next question is from Dwayne Pack. All right, is there any way or an app that will allow you to put a scoreboard on display during a live stream? This is actually, it's funny that you're saying that, Dwayne. We talk a little bit about that later in the show. We have a clip from one of our, someone from the community who is doing that specifically. But Joe, what do you think? Is there a way?
Sure. So of course, there's already the built-in overlay features for Vimeo Producer, and Vimeo Premium users can use that within the app. Those are plans that you can get directly from Vimeo. And of course, there are third-party solutions like Sideline HD. The example we're going to go over later today is going to be specifically using the Vimeo Producer overlays that are directly built in. And it was actually pretty well put together considering the creativity that the user used. So that's definitely why it grabbed our attention and is making it on the show today. We wanted to show people that you're only limited by the level of creativity you have, and the Vimeo Producer plan can allow you to achieve what it is that you're trying to do.
Yep, so true. They're limited graphics and what they can do right off the bat, but honestly, if you just think outside the box a little bit, then you can do a whole lot of things.
Yeah,
and the way he does it is actually really cool.
Yeah, it's
really
awesome.
Impressed.
All right, this next one is from Cole Morrison. It sounds like he's talking about an event. The event will be over Zoom. All caps. When using the Mevo as a wired webcam, can I use the hotspot mode to use cell phone data for the stream, or is it better to use a phone as a hotspot, connect the computer to it, and stream that way?
Okay, so I think you're trying to use Zoom. So I think you're trying to use the wired web camera feature. And the wired web camera feature actually right now, it's limited that that feature is only available at that time. So you can't connect and stream and or record while using the web camera app yet. We're hoping that can be something, but there's no official answer on it. But at this moment in time, you have to use the web camera feature or the streaming feature. You can't use both at the same time. And please clarify in the comments if you meant something else by that.
Yeah, if you're meaning that you want to actually use Zoom on the computer and use the Mevo as the webcam, but you want to use your phone's hotspot, you would have to take the computer and connect it to the tethered hotspot mode for your phone. But once again, like I was talking about earlier, really check that upload speed, because that's really going to, phone hotspots aren't really known for their great upload speeds. So that could be a limiting factor. So if you go check out your upload speed and you're noticing that it's high enough, then you could definitely connect the computer and then connect to Zoom that way using your phone as the hotspot itself.
All right, next question is from Wilson Hudson. Is there an app for the PC?
Oh man, No.
I always get in trouble for using that word.
Yes, no, not quite yet. I think you're mentioning the web camera app that we have for Mac OS right now. Unfortunately, it's not quite ready yet. You'll be the first to know, though. Stay on our pages on the Facebook community group or the website, and we'll have download links as soon as it's available for beta. But no application yet.
Yeah, and I know everyone's definitely looking forward to it. And you can also check on Mevo.com under the app section. We have both Mac and Windows listed there. The Windows ones is currently grayed out, but it will be there, like Nate said, when it's available.
Exactly. And if you're just looking to use the web camera feature, you can use it wired. I know it's not as exciting because it's not wireless, but you can use it wired on your PC computer. You just plug it right in, no drivers or software to download, and you should be good to go that way too.
Great answer. I'm really happy it wasn't just no. Okay, so it seems like Wilson had a few questions, so I'm just going to read through them. Can you connect it to a PreSonus studio board, which I believe is just a mixer? So yeah, you could have a XLR. It's actually how we're doing the show. We have an XLR out into the 3.5 directly into Mevo Start. So that's a definite yes. And let's see, what is the best free streaming software to use with this camera? What do you think?
OBS. OBS, I think everyone loves OBS here. Will loves OBS. He's the one that wrote the article for us, by the way, help.mevo.com. OBS article.
I definitely like OBS. For the free options, that's definitely the way to go. Of course, the Mevo app itself is free, but if you're looking for specific software for the computer, OBS is available for both Mac and Windows, and actually I think it's also even on Linux. So it's open source software that many people contribute to, many third-party extensions, and I'm definitely a fan considering my gaming background. I like to play games. So
yeah, and it's very powerful. It's got so many tools that you can use. Yeah, and you could use it with wireless web camera mode with Mevo, or you could use it with NDI. So you have two kind of options to send your video from the camera itself to that software.
Yeah, it's got lots of great features, even things like chroma key that can chroma key the footage directly from your Mevo. So I mean, it really adds a lot. For being free software, that would be probably the number one that you'll hear from anyone.
Yep.
All right, next question is from Basil Chesterman. I'm going to call him Basil. Basil, did you folks ever fix so you can have another audio source easily into the device? I think our live show last Wednesday, which I'll put in the comments, we added five audios.
I think it was five or six.
Yeah, I'm being ridiculous. 6 is too many. But 5. We had 5 audio sources into Mevo Start. Do you want to run through them, Nate? Do you remember off the top of your head?
I mean, I think I've got them. So you can add the microphones or the 3.5 millimeter input. So that's one. Yeah, I think you can keep count for me. We've got 2 where you can bring in USB audio. So you can bring in a USB audio mic or a mixer. So that's, what do we have, 2? Then you can bring in the Mevo mic app. So that would be 3. Then you can bring in the actual device itself. So the controlling Mevo app that you're using to control your Mevo with the video signal on it. You bring that in. That's 4. And then you can technically bring in 2 more Mevo mic apps if you're paying for the producer subscription. So Andrew, you were actually right. You could technically bring in 6 different microphones. Because with the Mevo mic app, you could bring in the device's audio, you could bring in like the Lightning or USB-C audio, or you could bring in the TRRS audio. So that's a lot of options. You got a million different options.
Yeah, I mean, and those are only for like direct connections. So if your source that's going into the mobile device has even more, such as the mixer we're using for this, I think has 12 inputs.
Yeah, true.
If we went, like we're going straight from that into the Mevo Start, that's 12 inputs. So I mean, you've got tons of inputs. It's really just how you use them.
Yep.
Yeah, and audio is one of my favorite topics. Getting clean audio into the Mevo is amazing. It's really fun. I like that I can say fun and you guys are like, yeah, it's fun. So one viewer that I see a lot on YouTube is YSDC, and he's got, or she's got a really amazing comment for y'all. And I'm going to let you, Nate, why don't you read this?
I streamed the Mevo Start for more than 4 hours continuously on the weekend, or at the weekend, running off the internal battery. Worked like a dream. I like things that do what they say they are on the tin. Well, we're happy too.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. It makes us so happy to hear that everything's working great and you're getting great use out of your product. The last thing we want is you having a product that you're not able to use to however you want. And I mean, this year's been a perfect example of us bringing new features that you all are directly asking for. And so as long as we get feedback like this, or even feedback, you know, even if it's criticism, we want it because we really want to make sure we mold the product around what you need it for.
Exactly. And we're happy with that 4 hours. It should be 6 hours, so give us a run for our money on that one.
Yeah, hopefully the event was 4 hours.
Yeah. I also saw a couple comments saying what's up from Thailand in the comments.
Wow.
Yep. So thank you. Thanks for watching.
We got some reach.
Yeah, we're getting some reach
things
here.
Yeah, one thing that we're working on is we really love how Livestream Studio can actually connect to maybe that should be a little video or something. But Livestream Studio can connect to an Excel spreadsheet, and you can populate comments in there, and it'll auto-populate in Livestream Studio, so you can use them in graphics. That's how we do all of this. But we want to be a little more connected. So they have the Facebook page up, and they'll be reading those comments. So, you know, put them in there. Please.
Yeah, and keep the questions going too, for sure, because we've got Otto and Dan, great guys. They are in the chat as well, answering some questions, sharing links and articles to other videos, so they can help you out if we don't get to you. And then also we go back and we look at all those questions and we try to help answer them in the next show. So just in case we didn't get to them this time, maybe tomorrow or Thursday, you'll end up getting an answer.
And even with that, I know at weekly, I'm still trying to pump out one video a week where I cover 3 of the most popular questions that we're seeing in tickets. And if your question doesn't get answered during the show, we'll definitely try to move those into the weekly video as well.
And we go back to yesterday's show or the last show, and we auto-populate. So, and sometimes I go into the Mevo group and I pull from there. So I am constantly pulling your question and answer. So without further ado, next up we have great questions, by the way. Keep them coming. Next up we have a video on how to use a TRRS mic in your Mevo Start. Something we get asked a lot is the difference between TRRS and TRS. We have a lot of content on there, but we do use TRRS mics directly in the Mevo. So Joe actually did a really great demonstration. Here you go.
Now, if you already have equipment that you want to continue to use, but it's TRRS, you can just use an adapter. This one is for TRS to TRS. Once you plug in your source and put it into the back of the Mevo Start, then you can continue to use that. But what if you don't have an adapter that's going to go to TRS and you want to continue to still use the old source that's TRS? Well, for that, you can actually plug it directly into a mobile device running the Mevo Mic app. As long as it's on the same network, you can still use that as a source as well. I just attached my Rode Smart Lavalier microphone on the back of the Mevo Start using a TRS adapter. Don't I sound great?
I love how quickly that cuts out. I'm sorry. I was giving them a warning, and I was like, oh, 5, 4, and then he did sound great. You sounded great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I was saying how it looked pretty cool. Like it was real difficult. I was real paying attention to how to plug that in, but
make it nice.
Other than that, yeah, it was.
Oh man, yeah, it was tough. You know, good tough acting. You really were able to plug in the 3.5.
Hollywood, here I come.
All right, so why don't we take some more questions?
Yes, please, bring them on.
This one's from Peter Metzger. I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing that correctly. Here we go. Peter Metzger says, just tuned in and waiting for our Ethernet adapter to arrive from Amazon. What network do connect to on your mobile device if your Mevo is on Ethernet?
So if you're planning on using an Ethernet adapter, this includes the PoE or any third-party adapters, you need to make sure your Mevo Start is connected to your Mevo hotspot. If you're connected to Wi-Fi or anything else, it's not going to switch to Ethernet. So you need to make sure it's on the hotspot. It'll take a couple seconds to realize, and then it'll register and swap immediately over to Ethernet once you're on hotspot mode.
Yeah, exactly. And the other thing is when you're in the Bluetooth settings or when you're looking at the cards in the app, you'll also see Ethernet as an option. I'll say Mevo hotspot plus Ethernet or Ethernet plus Mevo hotspot. So that'll tell you, you'll know that you're actually using the Ethernet, in fact. Whereas if you're in the router mode or connecting to a router, you'll just see the router itself name down there. So you'll know that you're not using the Ethernet. And then just one other thing to remember, maybe we could even show them in the app. I'll show you real quick. I want to show you that there's a really important toggle to have if you're not using the Ethernet adapter that we sell, using like a third-party adapter.
Oh, yeah.
You mentioned that it's being sold from Amazon. So I just want to show you actually inside the app here in just 1 second. There's a power option where you need to power the external Ethernet or dongle that you're using, and you'll want to make sure that you're doing that for that adapter. Otherwise, you'll plug it in and your Mevo just won't recognize it at all. So here I can go ahead and show you here. So where you find this setting is in the 3 little dots on the right-hand side, and then you go to the gear, and you go to Mevo Settings, and you scroll down here to Power External USB Device. It's under the little power section here. You want to make sure that this is turned on. So in this case, by default, when you turn on your camera, it's on, and here's where you'll just want to double check if the Ethernet adapter is not working, that you've got this guy on.
And sometimes there are some of the adapters, if you are going third party, our article covers this. Some of the adapters actually have external power if that's something you want to do to save some of your Mevo battery life. You can actually plug in the power cable, much like the PoE has the option to do as well.
Exactly, and then you would actually need to do the opposite.
Yeah.
And you would need to tell Start to not power that third-party device and give you the option to just power it from the source or the wall in that input.
Great. I know I've said this a lot, but this is my favorite name I've seen on here. Seamus McGillicutty. Let's see what you have to say. When connecting with the multicam beta, shout out multicam beta group, is there a recommended maximum distance between camera and control device? That's a good question.
Well, I think it's pretty much the same for any other Mevo device that you'd have. If you're connecting it through a router, then you'll need to be within obviously reach of your router for the most part. And I would obviously try to set up a dedicated network, try to have a network that's not like hidden underneath boxes in the closet. It's somewhere that's out in the open, ready to connect to. But you should generally have the same distance that you would use normally with like the normal app and your Mevo camera. So,
which I believe the exact number would be about 100 feet. Is what, of course, any walls or anything like that can definitely affect that kind of distance.
Yeah.
So
it's hard to put a number on it because if you have an older router, it'll be less distance, and if you have a newer router that has like AC, then you might get a little bit further.
Exactly.
But yeah, do some testing before you start though. I noticed YSDC in the chat and YouTube was saying that yes, in fact, his stream was 4 hours long.
Perfect.
So it wasn't the camera. Sweet, great to hear. And he said that he was actually pretty impressed with the low light. So that's good to hear as well. We went for a slightly different sensor on the camera with bigger pixels, so that way you would have better low light performance. So we're glad you're actually seeing that in reality as well.
Yeah, low light was definitely a big request coming from the Plus. That was definitely something that our users wanted us to improve on. So we're glad that you are getting the use out of the change in sensor.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. I love these questions. Keep them coming. Cade Hanan asks, do you have plans for a higher-end Mevo?
Well, this is a question I actually get pretty often in the ticket world, as Nathan calls it. Ticket land. So essentially, any new products that we're working on or any new software changes, if they haven't been announced yet, the way that you're going to be able to find out if that might be coming in the future is to make sure you subscribe and follow us on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. Check out our website regularly. That's where you're going to find out if something new is coming out. Unfortunately, I have no news for you today.
Yeah. That said, though, we are a technology company where we always want to innovate and create new things. So we're always looking ahead for the latest features and functionality and things in the internet video sort of world. So I promise you there's always going to be something, as long as we're still around and killing it.
Exactly.
So you can always look for something out there. But like Joe said, the fastest way to find out anything like that is from our website or our socials for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, like we were talking about with low light performance from the Mevo Plus, I mean, we made those changes because we heard your voice. So make sure your voice is heard, things that you want to see changed or improvements, additions. And I mean, we're listening. Everyone's listening, from the newest hire to the CEO. We're all in the Facebook groups. We're all on social media, and we see what you say. So make sure you're heard, and who knows, it might be implemented in an upcoming release.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, we make these products for everybody, for you. So yeah, please put them in the comments. It's a great question. Frank Prampton, what SD card do you recommend for recording? And this will be our last question before we go into another section with Joe.
Ooh.
So what SD card do you recommend?
Quick, easy answer is pretty much I'm yet to meet a SD card that didn't work, right? Have you seen one?
No, I have not.
So we pretty much support all the cards, but our help center has a great place where you can have a very specific answer to this, and also a specific list of cards that we've actually tested in-house. So if you're feeling a little uneasy about picking a card, we have a bunch of links in where you can buy them on the website. And I'll show you the help article here. We have a bunch of SD cards ranging from 16 gigabyte all the way up to, I believe, 400 gigabyte. And I've heard rumors that the 512 gigabyte cards out there in the world work pretty well. We actually do have 2 cards listed that do not work, but I have to say that this was a long time ago when this was written, and I bet you anything these 2 cards now probably work. But in here you can see a little drop down with the exact model number and cards for each one of these, and you can see we have quite a few listed, so I'm sure you'll find a card that'll be suitable for you.
Yeah, we even have another article that even talks about, what size you actually need. If your production doesn't exceed a specific amount of time, then, I mean, there's really no need to go get a 400 gig if you only need a 32 gig. So, you could save some money there, and there's the article that talks about that. So it'll help you calculate the actual needs that you actually need for your production. No need to do overkill, but hey, I like a 400 gig SD card as much as the next person.
I don't like to delete anything, so I agree with you. I just keep clips forever. The other day, I even ran into some clips on an SD card from our old office from when we just moved into this random room for the QA team that I was working with at the time, and there was a clip of me on a card table with a fresh haircut, just testing out some Mevo cameras. So, yeah, I like all the huge cards. Save everything.
If I would have found a video of me from that time frame, I probably still had hair. So.
Oh yeah, fair enough.
All right. So next up we have Joe's going to walk you through. I really love Joe has such a profound knowledge on streaming and best streaming practices, and there is other than the people in this room, not really better teachers to teach you multi-destination streaming. So without further ado, how many times have I said that? Without further ado, Joe Mevo.
Hey, that's definitely my favorite thing is without further notice, or hey, why wait, no delay, let's get into it. Those are my things, and nice. I get it. It's a habit. All right, so a common thing that I see when it comes to multi-destination is a lot of users aren't super sure on how it actually works. So multi-destination is enabled with a Vimeo Producer or Vimeo Premium plan, which means you're using Vimeo's cloud. Essentially, once you're logged into your app and you select multi-destination and select your destinations, you're immediately sending that to Vimeo, and then Vimeo is going to distribute that to all of your destinations. So it's a couple of extra steps. You're not seeing it, but they're happening. Now, you're not using more data or bandwidth from your end, which is the beauty of it. You're using the same as if you're only going to one destination, because technically you are. You're sending it to Vimeo and using their bandwidth to send it out to the other destinations.
And I think that's a really big point, though. Same thing with like Restream.io and some other providers out there too. They do something similar, but there's a lot of power in that if you don't have the internet connection speed.
Yeah.
And also, it's a lot of like pressure off of the camera itself, because it doesn't have to send into 6 independent streams. It'll just send that single stream. I think it's underestimated for sure.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
And that's a huge reason why I really wanted to cover this, is because I see it pop up, why it's useful, and then how it actually works. A few other things that you'll notice when you do multi-destination streaming is that you may get an error when you're doing multi-destination, but not when you're doing single destination. And this is because of the way that you're connecting. Essentially, Vimeo could be on the other side of the country or the world, depending on where you're located, and Facebook and YouTube servers could be in your backyard. But it doesn't matter if you're using multi-destination, because you're going to send it to Vimeo, and then Vimeo is going to handle the distribution. So if there's any error and you're allowed to, and you can go to direct destination without any problem, then the issue would be the distance probably between you and any Vimeo servers or anything that might be going on their end for multi-destination. So let's go ahead and jump into the app. I'm going to show you where to log in and how to check to make sure you have the correct privileges, and then how to turn it on so you can get started. So if you press the ellipsis and then the cogwheel here, you'll notice I'm already logged in here at the top where it says Vimeo Producer. Where it says Vimeo Producer, you're going to see that, or you'll see something like Vimeo Premium. And essentially what that is showing the package that you have connected directly. So once you're actually logged in, you'll see that status. If you can go back and press the record stream button, and you'll see all the destinations you have access to.
Wait, Joe, do you mind just starting over? Because it
Sure.
glitched a little bit.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I can definitely do that. So in the bottom right, we have the ellipsis, and then you can press the cogwheel. So this is where I was just at, and what I was talking about was logging in. You can see my name and my package is Vimeo Producer. If you're not logged in, you can tap there and log into your Vimeo account. If you see anything else other than Vimeo Producer or Vimeo Premium, odds are you're either logged into the wrong account, or the account you're logged into wasn't successfully updated. Unfortunately, we're not able to look that up for you. You would actually have to reach out to Vimeo to check to see what the account you used. And they're more than happy to help over there. They're great people who should be able to look up your email and see if your payment went through or if it was attached to the account. But if you're running into issues with that, you can definitely reach out to Vimeo and they'll be happy to help. So once you're logged in, you see Vimeo Producer, Vimeo Premium, and we're gonna jump out of here and go back to the front screen and press record or stream. And you'll see all of the destinations. On the top right, Nathan covered this a little bit with this toggle button. Right now it's off, and I'm going to toggle it, and now it is on. Now that it's on, I can select multiple destinations, and you can select up to 10 destinations. You can see I have 2 selected here. Let's do YouTube, Periscope, Twitch, and you'll notice I'm at 720, and the reason that this is because Periscope limits you at 720. There's no way to actually go 1080 to Facebook, 1080 to YouTube, and then 720 to Periscope. So if you're doing multi-destination and you want to use Periscope, it's going to limit all of your feeds to the 720. If you can see, I'm actually grayed out and I'm unable to change to anything else. So now that I've got this selected, you can also press configure like Nathan did earlier, and you can change all of the titles independently. You do not have to have the same title for all of the different, or you don't have to have the same title for all the different destinations. We gave you the freedom to do that, and the reason is you may have different audiences depending on where you're streaming, so you might want to title it different or include different information. But now that we have multiple destinations selected, let's go ahead and press go live. Now, this process might take a few seconds because it is going to be processing all of these and sending all of that data over to Vimeo. But once it does, you'll notice on the bottom left, you'll see something of a social tree where it's showing that it is indeed going to multiple different destinations. You'll see that there is a duration, and then you can even click on that and get more information. And once this is done spinning, I'll go ahead and show you what that looks like. Taking just a second.
Yeah, we have what? I'm
there we go.
12 Mevos going, and it just takes a second here.
Yeah,
there's a lot of interference.
All right, so now that it's done, you'll see the duration and the little tree down here that I was talking about. And if you tap on that, it shows you all of the destinations in the bottom left, as well as the duration, the battery. For this one, I'm actually using the Mevo Plus with the Mevo Boost in the back of the room. So I see the Boost battery and the Plus battery as well of the status that it's charging. And I can also see the bit rate that it's using, which is 1.8 megabytes per second. So just like any other single destination stream, you can just scroll over to the right and end it, and it will give you the ability to actually save the footage from your streams. Even if you went to multiple different destinations, you can do that. So once you actually get to that screen, you'll see, just like you would save to SD card or saving to the destinations, and you'll actually be able to select and click that for you. Let's get back into the app and see what that actually looks like. Once you're actually back in the app, let's see here, we've got keep video on 2 destinations. So this doesn't have the SD card so that it's not going to show that option. But if you see keep video, you can either just disable that and not save it on any of the destinations, or if you only want to save it on one and not both destinations, you can tap on that and you can actually select what destination you want to save it to. So I'm going to go ahead and save it to the product testing page because I don't get on Periscope enough. I don't want to go back and delete it. So we'll do that. And now it's saved only to that one destination, even though I actually stream to multiple destinations at once.
Exactly. And so I had one actually thing. So we have this request all the time when somebody doesn't put a stream name in their title, they get this strange thing just appears on every one of their streams, and everyone just has no idea why Live from Mevo is the title of their live stream. So we'll show you a little hack. We did this because if you didn't put a title, it was Live from Mevo, so it's fair. So we'll go ahead and show you in the app how to remove that. It's not too hard, luckily. You'll do kind of the same sort of deal where, Joe can walk you through how to do it.
Sure. So at the very top, you have the event title, which is going to modify all of the titles for all of the destinations. And then you also have the signature, which is located
under live streaming.
Let's see, give me a quick second. It's been a second since I've had to switch the signature.
Putting you on the spot, I like it.
All right, so once you actually get into the live streaming area, you'll see signature. Like it gives you a little description, add some text, like a hashtag to the end of all stream titles. You can change this to whatever it might be. So maybe I just want everyone to know that I'm Joe Mevo.
Exactly. So this is really easy if you do a lot of consistent things for a business or for something that you want to hashtag frequently. You can just add this to the end of every title that you're already typing in. So maybe your title each day for, like, say our show, Mevo Live, we put a custom title header for it. But maybe at the end of everything, we want to put the ability to put a hashtag for each one of those. So this would be a way that you can just quickly do that. And yeah, there you go. One little pro tip right there.
Yeah.
Little pro tip.
Get rid of the signature, change the signature, add it, remove it, whatever you want to do. If you don't have anything though, it's going to come out live at Mevo.
Live from Mevo, yep.
So
exactly. All right. Well, I think now that we've gone into multi-destination streaming, are we doing more question and answer, or are the people happy?
They have more questions, and I think they are happy too.
Okay, that's good.
A little bit of both.
All right, well, maybe we just wait for tomorrow's show to answer some of those questions, but you can still type those in. We'll throw them in tomorrow's show.
Definitely.
That would be awesome.
Should we go to the Facebook group? Should we go to the community?
I think we should.
Okay, so something that I really like is how active the community page is, and I think you put a lot of, there's obviously a lot of questions. It is a community page, so we are constantly in there answering all sorts of support questions, but one of my favorite things is that you use it as a sort of showcase of what you're doing with the Mevo, and sometimes it's like, we know the Mevo Start's capabilities, but we see them in practice in ways we hadn't seen them before. We actually got 3 or 4 questions today about how to do sports and how to put a live scorecard on, graphics, and we found somebody. What's their name? Do you know?
Chase Brown? No, not Chase Brown.
Chris
Brown.
Chris Brown.
I get Chase.
Chris Brown is really just showing off here. He's got.
I think he really is.
Yeah, he's got. I'll show you in 1 second, but he has the Vimeo producer up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
With graphics, he's got the what's this? The scorecard, live Scorecard HD, or
he's literally using just Vimeo Producer. He's not using.
Wow.
That's the thing, is that it shows you really the flexibility and the power that Vimeo Producer gives you. As long as you have the creativity and the will, you'll find a way.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
That's what really made this production really cool, is that he used everything that Mevo offered, and the output was fantastic.
Yeah, let's go ahead and roll this clip for you. It's just a little video he created, not specifically for us. He shared this in the Facebook group. And again, this is back to our Facebook segment. So if you have any of these workflows and things you want to do, share them in there. You might get highlighted in the show one day. How cool would that be? All right, you ready for this? Ready to send it to the people? Well, great job. There we go. All right, here you guys go.
Bring up number 2, Mason Brown.
There we go.
Mason Brown's been working very hard hitting lately. About to see some results pay off here shortly. And he drives one back to the pitcher. Line shot. Throws it away here. That'll plate Heath Taylor. Mason Brown's safe.
We have time on the field to check on the pitcher. He lined that one right back to him.
Coach Chris, that's Cam Wood. That's Cam Wood, Coach.
All right.
What a hit.
What a hit. Thanks, Chris, for sharing that clip on the group, showing other people how to use the tools that we give all the Mevo customers. Sometimes they get buried because if you look at the camera and all the features and all the things that it can do, there's a lot that it can do, and certain people need specific features and others don't. So sometimes ones are just glossed over or forgotten, or they didn't even know they existed. So it's great to see people actually using all the features that we make in real life for real events.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you check out that post, or if you're able to find it, we'll see if we can get it linked just so you guys can check it out. He actually had a full-blown document. He was getting asked how his streams were made. So if you're interested in all of the things that he's actually using to make it happen, I know he said he was using some like PlayStation headsets for the external audio and things like that. So if you're interested in what he did for that, we'll throw that in the video comments below, and you can check that out. So thanks again, Chris Brown, for that. We appreciate you sharing your experience and everything today.
Yeah, exactly. And one thing before we kind of close out today's show, big shout out to Max.
Oh yeah.
It's his birthday today. Max Hout, if you're in the group, maybe throw him a happy birthday, tag him. I'm sure he would appreciate it. And yeah, one last little detail before we end the show. So thank you from Nathan and the rest of the team as well, I'm sure. And we'll look forward to seeing you in our shows to come.
Yeah, one of the benefits of being the switcher of the show is I get to hijack it too. So yeah, happy birthday, Max. Joe, I'm forcing you to. You ready?
All right. Happy birthday, Max. Thanks for everything. Hope you have a fantastic day. Everyone at Mevo loves you. So, and without further ado, thank you everybody who watched today. Thanks for tuning in. And make sure you check out tomorrow, because we have so much more content and so many more questions that we're ready to answer. And from everyone here at Mevo, we'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye.